In nature, you can find all kinds of habitats. A habitat is a little ecosystem in a given geographical area based on certain factors, such as climate, soil type, water availability, the plants and animals that inhabit this area. Depending on the habitat you are in, you can find usual species that have established themselves in this specific area because it fulfills the needs perfectly. Habitats communicate between themselves. Nothing is ever static in nature. Things change, evolve, migrate, adapt. Now, these little ecosystems are very precious because they contain unique species that can only live in this specific habitat. So the destruction of any ecosystem can be devastating for entire populations. Now, for you to understand better what a habitat really is, I'll give you a few examples. The coast. That's a habitat that has strong winds, a very salty environment, extreme weather conditions, sandy soil. Now, also in the mountains, you can have mountainous habitats. These kind of habitats will have colder temperatures, less oxygen, snow even. Otherwise, what else? An oak forest. That is a habitat. A pine forest is a habitat. An abandoned field is a habitat. Countryside roads, swamp areas. So I think you're starting to get the picture. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about a habitat that is typical of the Mallorcan landscape, the torrente. And that's a fancy Spanish word for a temporary dry riverbed. I prefer torrente. Now, a quick tip if you're new to the wild plant foraging world. You can look at the type of habitat you are in and look up, research the usual species that you would find in this certain habitat. And this will give you a general idea of what you can find, instead of just, blindly looking around. This has helped me a lot in the past, so I thought this could help you too. So, let's move on. Let's get on with the video. Now, what is a torrente? Well, this is a torrente. It's basically a large swale that floods with water in the rainy season, and that's winter here in Mallorca, and it completely dries out in the drought season, which is summer. The torrente plays a very important ecological role, as it welcomes unique species of plants and animals that have adapted to big water availability fluctuations. See, one moment it's overflowing water, the next it's completely dry. Now, usually the soil of torrentes is very rich and fertile because of the mineral and nutrient-dense silt that has been deposited by the flowing river. When dry, the torrente becomes a safe ecological corridor for many mammals, plants, and insects. Torrentes also play a very important role in the management of the water network, as they prevent flash flood damages and moisturize the land. Torrentes act as huge drains that come from the mountains all the way down to the sea. And here in Mallorca, they are highly valued and respected. You see, you cannot construct on a torrente or divert a torrente. And I find this very important, and I really admire Mallorca for these kind of measures. Now the fun part. Let's look at the typical plants that you will find in the torrente. Now let's start with a typical torrente plant, Arundo donax. Now if you see this plant, there's definitely a torrente around. This might look like bamboo, but it's not bamboo. It's a giant grass. Actually, it's called giant cane grass from the Rosaceae family. And it has been historically used for flute making, and it's great material to make woodwind reeds, but as a construction material it's not as valued as bamboo. And unfortunately Arundo donax is viewed as a highly invasive species. As you can see behind me, it takes quite a bit of the space, and sometimes it can really invade a habitat and take over the place of other plants. Ailanthus altissima, another invasive plant that you will find only in torrentes. As you can see, there are quite a few behind me. It's quite a beautiful plant, really. And some say that when you crush the leaves, you can even think it smells of popcorn or dirty socks. I prefer to say it smells of popcorn, peanuts, that kind of thing. Not so bad. I don't think it smells of old socks, The leaves of Ailanthus are the food of the Ailanthus silkworm. They make silk that is stronger and cheaper than silk produced by mulberry silkworms, that we will see later on in the video. But the thing is that silk of the Ailanthus silkworm is less glossy and has less texture than the silk of the mulberry silkworm. So less sought after, I'd say. So there you go. Ailanthus altissima. Another invasive plant. Well, actually, I say invasive. Another potential invasive plant. Because I came here a few days ago before the huge storm, and it was quite a big patch of Potentia reptans. But now it's very small, so, nothing's really invasive in a torrente, as you see. So, Potentia reptans. This is not cannabis. It has the cutest little yellow flowers, and both flowers and young leaves are edible. They contain proteins, vitamin C, and calcium. And medicinally, it's the safest astringent out there in the wild plant world. Oh yes, it's great for treating coughs, cold, arthritis pains, bronchitis, and even cancer. It can be confused with Potentia anserina, the silverweed. It's the same genus. It's edible, so it's safe. So this you will find in the torrente. In the same family, the Rosaceae family, we have Rosa canina, the famous rosehip. What an incredible fruit, the rosehip. It's an incredible source of vitamin C. The fruit is delicious, it tastes amazing, and it's got a touch of sour, which is very yummy en bouche. Just remember that when you eat it, you must get rid of all the little hairy seeds, because they can cause inflammation. So you don't want that, you just want to eat the skin. Okay, so I just want to show you quickly those little hairs that I was talking to you about. Here you go. So these are the, oops, sorry. So these are little hairy seeds that you immediately desperately want to get rid of. See? So you don't want those. So boom. Get rid of them. See, I get little hairs here. You get rid of all the hairs, and then you should be safe to go. And you can just eat the skin, which is delicious. Yum, 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 yum. Or when they've been bletted, which means when the frost has dealt with them, the frost makes them softer, you see. So you can squeeze them, and through the hole there's this liquid, liquid sort of paste that's very sweet and delicious. Also a great source of vitamin C, so this is amazing. Great plant. You will definitely find the hawthorn in torrentes. I know I've already done a video on the hawthorn, but I just wanted to have a quick word. There was someone in the comments, Peter, you said that the stone inside the hawthorn fruit is toxic, and you're very right, which I forgot to mention. So you don't want to just swallow these like in one go. You really want to eat the skin around the fleshy part and spit out the stone. You do not want to eat that stone. It's toxic and it's no good. It's a bit like cherries, see? Cherries, you don't eat the stone. Why? Because it's toxic, same thing. So there you go. This is the perfect time to eat hawthorn. Yum, yum, yum. And yeah, I just want to say thank you, Peter, and thank you others, for pointing out this very valuable information. Specifics about plants that I might forget. Oops. It seems that the Rosaceae family is quite popular in Torrentes. Here we have Mispilus germanica, the plant with the vulgar fruit. The fruit is called an open arse. So yes, a very interesting fruit. A sad story actually, the open arse, because it was once a very popular fruit because it was the only fruit that you could find in winter. But then with the arrival, the importation of more exotic fruits, they were available also in the winter. And it's a very particular process to eat open arse. You basically have to wait until it's quite overripe and mushy, and it doesn't look very appetizing. Apparently it tastes delicious of applesauce. I'm gonna test these and I'll tell you. Yes, so unfortunately they've been forgotten. People preferred exotic fruits that were less trouble and more pretty and appetizing to eat. So yeah, but it's a shame because this plant is very resistant. As you can see, it grows wild. You can find many who grow wild. So yeah, a plant to be remembered. Now, moving on to some very yummy plants. Not the Rosaceae family this time, the Polygonaceae family. And this is Rumex pulcher. There's also Rumex crispus, which I don't know if, maybe this. Rumex crispus. This is the violin plant because it looks literally like a violin. And Rumex crispus, they look so similar. So very yummy wild salads, delicious, very abundant at the moment, so go wild. Actually, don't go wild, sorry, no. These plants contain a lot of oxalates, and in too big quantities they can become toxic, so you don't need too much of these. Yeah, so like a handful a day is great. It contains a lot of goodies. Now, if you have kidney stones, you do not want to touch this plant at all. Well, I mean, not touch physically, but I mean, you don't want to eat it at all because it encourages more kidney stones. So yeah, definitely do not touch this this kind of plant. And it's like spinach. You can eat it cooked or raw. Yummy cream spinach. That's what I'm gonna do soon. It's a bit like beet. Literally wild spinach. Beta vulgaris. It's the same kind of thing. Beta vulgaris also contains oxalates, so same role with that. an amaranth. Okay, there are loads of amaranths and they kind of look all similar, luckily, because they all are edible, so that's okay. But this is one of the rare ones that you can actually tell apart from others. It has this characteristic white mark here. It's a sort of half circle on it, and it has it on quite a few of its leaves. So yeah, that's quite a good indicator. It's called Amaranthus retroflexus. The amaranth is very tasty, like wild spinach, and like rumex we saw. And as those other plants, it contains oxalates. Now, what did I say? Oxalates, you have to eat them in small quantities, and people with kidney stones mustn't eat them. So there you go. Look, this is the typical amaranth flower from the Aromantheaceae family. Oh, I forgot actually to talk about this one. It's a plant that loves humid places. It's Portulaca oleracea, poor man's salad, because apparently you only eat this if it's as a last resort. So poor man's salad, and only poor people who can't afford, you know, proper food eat this. And I think that's such an injustice, because this is, I think, my favorite wild salad. It's crunchy, juicy, really has a beautiful taste, no bitterness, and it's really good for you. Lots of vitamins, minerals, omega-3. I love this. It's got a cute yellow flower. It's because these incredible, juicy red stems, very easy to recognize. You'll recognize it anywhere. It grows, you know, in humid places. You'll find them in your vegetable gardens, voila. So here's quite an incredible spot. Here's, I got rumex, I got amaranths, I got potentilla. So yeah, quite a few edibles just in this spot, which is quite cool. Torrentes are great supermarkets. Oh my gosh, just seeing these makes my mouth water. Again, another one of my favorite wild salads, Chenopodium album. A goosefoot, because the leaf looks like it's the shape of a goosefoot. This is a very big leaf. These are beautiful plants. In Torrente you find beautiful specimens. I love it, and also there's another plant that's very similar. I want to talk at the same time because they're quite similar. No, yes, that's this one. Actually, I can show you how different. Maybe it's quite useful to see. So this is a triplex prostata. And this is Chenopodium album. So you can kind of tell the difference. That's got a triangular shape more. It's got these two little wings. But the color's similar. Well, actually, they're quite different, really, when I think about it. Chenopodium album has white powder under the leaves. When you scratch it, you can see the white powder. Both edible, delicious wild salads. Now, as the other ones, they contain oxalates, once more. So yeah, you just go easy on them. They're delicious. And also, with these kind of plants, always choose the youngest leaves because they're the less bitter. The older it gets, the bitter it gets. So there you go. Delicious. Wild salads. I love wild salads. The famous plant with which Socrates killed himself with. Deadly hemlock. Indeed, this is the one and only Conium maculatum deadly hemlock. Looks very much like a carrot, wild carrot, and you don't want to make that mistake because this is totally deadly, toxic. It can cause paralysis. It can inflame your lungs to the point of like suffocating your lungs, and also it attacks the nervous system. So you really don't want to touch this plant. To know that it's not a wild carrot, first of all, it has no hairs. And the 4 deadly plants of the carrot family, which is the Apiaceae family, do not have hairs. So that's already a good pointer. Also, there is the smell, but you have to touch the plant in order to smell if it's got a carrot smell. But the problem with that is that I don't quite like it, because if you do touch this plant, it's not going to hurt you just by touching it, but it's just that if you forget that you've touched it and then you touch your eyes, or you eat something and you touch your mouth, you lick your fingers without having washed them, that can be a bit more problematic. I prefer telling people not to touch it. Some people say it's not deadly, it won't kill you and everything. Why take risks, okay? Why? Just leave this plant alone. If it has hairs, if it has the particular carrot smell, then it could be a carrot. But once again, it doesn't always mean. You have to be really careful with wild plants. So yeah, definitely this is a reminder of how careful you have to be. So, deadly hemlock, Conium maculatum. This is Biota nigra, the black horehound, that you will find a lot in the torrente at the moment. I've seen quite a few. I actually thought this was lemon balm, very similar looking. Actually, they're from the same family, the Labiates family, with the typical square stem, the opposite leaves, and also the aromatic scent. Although this is not the nicest smell, kind of aromatic, kind of goaty, you know, humid. You can smell the humidity in here, which is not the most pleasant of Labiaceae. That's why I was a bit sad when I found out it wasn't lemon balm Melissa officinalis, that I will show you. I found it there. I stepped on one. I was really sad because I stepped on one and I thought it was the only one, but there are quite a few coming up now. They're quite, you know, prolific, so they're coming up. But this plant is interesting. Has many health benefits. It's got calming effect, like lemon balm. You know, anti-stress, helps you sleep, good for menstrual cramps, but a great plant, and it's very soft. It has flowers at the moment, very beautiful purple flowers, so you can't mistake it with that. So there you go. Another plant that you will find in Torrente is Biota nigra. And here we go, a few steps away and we have a beautiful patch of mint and lemon balm. So the lemon balm, if I'm not mistaken, is here. Yeah, that's right, that's lemon balm. And then we have mixture of mint. They look so similar, like literally right now, couldn't really tell. Except that here with the wild mint, you can see there are some old flower calyces. So you can kind of tell that this is the wild mint. And lemon balm. The Labiaceae family must be one of my favorite families. It has the most delicious smelling and tasting herbs out there. Incredible, beautiful. So in the Torrente you will find the mints like Mentha puligium and Mentha suaveolens. And then you have lemon balm, my ultimate favorite. This is really my favorite at the moment. I've even planted some in my garden. Got some in a pot for the moment. I'm seeing, people have said it's invasive, so I'm seeing how that's going, but I really want to have some like close to me, just to be able to pick off the leaves, put them in some hot water, slice of lemon, delicious. Many health benefits. Lemon balm is great for, it's got sedative effects, a bit like Biota nigra over there. It's anti-stress, you know, anti-anxiety, helps you sleep, digestion too. Mint is a great breath freshener. So, you know, you're on a walk, you you haven't eaten for a while or drunk for a while, so, you know, just pop a little mint in there and be good to go. They're great, really. And they just smell so good. I mean, just walking, you smell this lovely smell. So aromatic, it's lovely. They look beautiful too, I mean, they're very pretty. Okay, this one I am excited about. Look at what I found. In this Torrente, I found next to the hawthorn, there was a pomegranate, a wild pomegranate growing. I've already done a video on pomegranate, but those were pomegranates in my garden. And seeing one growing in the wild, I don't know why, it just makes it so special. I was really happy. If you're interested in finding out more about pomegranates and its incredible health benefits as a superfruit, you can go and see that other video. So yeah, this makes me really happy. This is only one part. Like, the rest of the tree is incredible. There's so many fruit up there. And as they receive more sun, they're more red. See, these ones don't receive so much sun, so they're less red and less ripe. I found this one, managed to find this one. I'll open it up, I'll just get my knife. Okay, so yeah, I've already tested one of these wild pomegranates. No, it was on my YouTube video on the pomegranate, and Ellie said in the comments that there are 3 types of pomegranates, and I didn't know that. There's a sweet one, a sour one, and then there's one in between. And in my home they're all sweet, and I didn't know about the sour ones. And when I tasted a sour one, I thought it was unripe. I was like, ew, this is not tasty. But in fact, it's a type of pomegranate out there. So okay, oh my gosh, wow. Have you seen the color? I don't know if you can see. Have you seen this color on a wild pomegranate? Like, literally no one's been here. No one's been here to touch it, to prune it or anything. And it's this. I mean, nature is incredible. Wow, yeah. Now this is definitely a sour one. Wow. I don't know if I can eat it. It's so sour. I have to read what you do with sour ones. Oh my god. Wow. You make a sour juice. I don't know. Put this in salads as a substitute for vinegar. It's actually quite addictive. Like sour sweets. Oh, they're so pretty. But so sour. Wow. Sorry, that was gross. I'm so happy, it's so pretty. Definitely a new taste experience that I was not expecting. Extraordinary. But thank you, Ellie, because you made me less worried. I really thought it was unripe or something wrong with the fruit, but no, it's a tree. I'm amazed. I'm amazed. This is a close-up of the pomegranate, so you can see how pink they are, how beautiful. Now, this is what I'm talking about when I talk about jewels. Pink jewels, wow, and so juicy. Delicious, but sour. So there you go. Oh my gosh, look what I just found. An enormous beetle. Trying to hide. Probably scaring the poor guy. Very pretty. Oh, bye-bye. This is the food of the famous mulberry silkworm, Morus alba, the white mulberry. Indeed, the mulberry silkworm will only eat white mulberry. For 42 days straight, it will eat white mulberry leaves, and then, unfortunately, when they've made the silk cocoon, you know, to prepare to transform into a moth, because the silkworm is a moth, well, it gets boiled alive because during its transformation, the silkworm, when trying to get out of the silk cocoon, can destroy the cocoon. So people have to boil it alive in order to kill the worm inside to preserve the silk for making silk. So that's how silk is made. A bit sad for the poor worm. As I was saying earlier, there's the Elanthus silkworm, but this is really the one that everybody looks for. This is the best quality silk, is the white mulberry silkworm. The white mulberry gives very tasty fruit, and they look like elongated raspberries. There are none on this tree. I think it's a bit young for the moment. And also you can make mulberry leaf tea. It's a good cholesterol regulator and controls the high blood sugar levels. So this is a plant that I found in the Torrente. So it's a plant that obviously likes humidity, and it's actually quite funny because if you look at it, the root is on the floor, or it's a tree. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. If I take the camera off, literally it's been pushed off here. Like the water came from over there and went whoo, and like pushed this tree. Oops, sorry. Push this tree here. So you see that's there. And this mulberry bush is just growing here. See, this is a mulberry leaf. And then this one has only got one little indent. See, opposed to the other one. And like here, sorry, this one has got no indentation. But you can always tell that it's a mulberry leaf because here, there's always one lobe who's bigger than the other side. So that's quite a good indication. It's like lopsided, basically. So they vary a lot, as you can see. I'm so excited to talk to you about this plant. This is Selaginella denticulata, the Mediterranean club moss. And I literally fell on this club moss by magic. It was pure luck, and I'm so happy. I was literally filming a fern, a Mediterranean fern, which is called rusty back, Asplenium ceterace, and it's called rusty back because on the leaf, you see the back of the leaf it's got a rusty color, like sort of orangey. So I kind of find that name kind of cute. So yeah, I was just filming Asplenium ceterace, and then I saw next to it, I was like, wait, what is this? And I didn't know about club mosses. I had no idea what they looked like, what they were. But this got my eye with this bright green color, beautiful shape and structure. And then I discovered it was Selaginella denticulata. And I'm so happy. This is a lycophyte, and apparently this is the oldest living vascular kind of plant on the planet, estimated to be 400 million years old. I know, quite a long time. Although it's called a club moss and it may look like a moss, it's not a moss. A true moss hasn't got vascular tissue, xylem and phloem, whereas club moss has vascular tissue, xylem and phloem, which are conducting tissues. It reproduces via a spore system, so it has little spores, and it's just beautiful. It's green to start with, and then it turns bright red, sort of coral fluorescent red, which is beautiful. I find it absolutely amazing, and it decorates beautifully the walls. I love stone walls, humid and dark places, like ferns and mosses really. Wherever you'll find ferns, the Asplenium ceterace, and also mosses, you will find Selaginella denticulata. Have you seen the size? It's adorable. You could literally just walk by and not even see it, as I was actually. Every day I was walking by, not seeing it. And then by magic you see this beautiful plant. You just go closer in, you see the details, and it's just amazing. And nature is amazing, and I love it. So really happy to be able to show you this. So Selaginella denticulata, the Mediterranean club moss, grows in torrentes because it's nice and dark and humid. Never gets too much sun or it gets too hot. So there you go. We have found Selaginella denticulata. Wow, incredible. Now, common ivy, Edera ilex. You probably recognize it. Did you know that you could make laundry soap out of it? Because it contains saponins and it's detergent. And this is what makes it possible to make a natural laundry soap that you can clean your clothes with, free and naturally. And apparently it smells very nice if you're worried about the smell. Nature provides, so let's use it. I think we'll finish with Dithrichia viscosa, the false yellowhead. It's a beautiful plant, beautiful yellow flowers as you can see. Then you get to the leaves, you crush them, a bit sticky. And then the smell gets to your nose and it's an awful smell. Honestly, it's quite intoxicating. This is a great natural pesticide. It attracts all the good predators that you want, especially the olive fruit fly. It is devastating olive crops. So this is great. You know, instead of using toxic chemicals, nature provides you with great predators that will eat all the nasty parasites. It's all regulated, but we like to think we can do better. Anyway, this is quite funny, this plant Dithrichia viscosa, the false yellowhead, because there's a Catalan adage that says, "My dear, don't fall in love with a woman who only has good looks. She's like a false yellowhead. Beautiful to look at, but full of stench." So, on that note, I think we'll end the video here. I've shown you quite a lot of plants that inhabit the torrente at the moment. So, as I said, now we're nearly end of September, going into autumn. This is only the beginning of what the torrente has to offer in biodiversity. And that's saying quite a lot. Have you seen all the plants I showed you? And I've only shown you half of the plants. There's so many that I don't even know about, that I still have yet to discover, which is exciting. So, you know, the seasons changing, the plants change, and it's exciting and fascinating to see this change throughout the year. And I want to show you this. I want to share this incredible observation with you. And they have so much to offer. These plants have medicinal qualities. They're very useful, you know, used as pesticides and everything. It's amazing and mind-blowing what they can do. You can come and forage here, harvest lots of food. There's so much food in nature and people don't even realize half of what there is in nature. It's so good for you. It's literally all the elements, the good elements are there in the soil, but you always have to be careful of the toxic plants. If there are any plants that I talked about in this video, did you want me to go more into detail about? Because I just passed over quickly all the different plants. You just let me know in the comments, and then I'll definitely do a video more in detail about that, you know, a specific one. Voila, I will see you with the next plant. I hope you enjoyed discovering what the torrente has to offer. You know, happy foraging if this has made you want to go out there and get some plants and have fun.